Well, hello, Easton, and welcome to the Rabbi's Roundtable. I'm Rabbi Peter Hyman, Rabbi at Temple B'nai Israel, and thank you for joining us. It's December, it's getting cold, and we have a lot of hot stuff nevertheless. Anyway, my first guest is not a stranger to the Rabbi's Roundtable. He's a community leader, he's visible, he's bright, and dependable, and he is Richard Potter, president of the NAACP, and my friend. Hello, Richard, and welcome.
Hello, and thank you for having me on the Rabbi's Roundtable again, Rabbi Hyman.
Not a problem. Always a pleasure to have you. And I thought, Richie, what we would do, I would like to talk about the monument, move the monument, the whole issue, where we are, what's next. Make sure that people understand that the intent is not to destroy it or to, rewrite history, but to deal with the difficult elements of history and our personally and well as, communally and all that sort of thing. And let's just talk about this because I think it's important for the community and to understand what the issues are.
Absolutely. So I will say that where we are right now is I know that there's been various groups of constituent members who have saw the need to have a conversation with the council as a whole,
Yeah.
but they are refusing to meet as a body, as the Talbot County Council with groups of constituents to address the issue. And I think that is so critical to this whole narrative, is that in order for us to understand one another, we have to engage each other in dialogue and civil dialogue at that,
Sure.
in order for us to understand each perspective and where groups of people are coming from. So I'm really a little disappointed that most recently that our county council decided not to meet with our faith leaders, which are leaders, impeccable premier leaders in our community, and their refusal to meet with them, it sends a message that do they want to move forward, or how is it that they want to move forward?
Yeah, well, was there any reason given? That's disappointing. I'm surprised at that.
Yeah, I was very surprised. The response that was given was that when the NAACP brought a diverse group of people to them, they declined to meet with us as well. And that Tuesday night, they indicated that they would send the same letter that they sent to us, which I have yet to see. I have not been in receipt of that letter that they referenced, stating that they would continue to meet with constituents one-on-one.
Okay. All right. How do we get one of those meetings? Do we know?
Well, I can tell you that previously the way we got to the meeting in 2015 was we simply wrote to the county council to say we want to have a discussion and open dialogue with you in one of your work group sessions. And it was approved. This time around, it's been stonewalled. The same process has been followed. I've been told that we didn't follow the process the right way. I've been told that we followed the process, but two county council members need to know about what's going on. So it sounds to me like it's a matter of changing the rules of the game up as you progress forward, which isn't good. Again, as a community, we need to collectively come together to have the conversation, and have a difficult conversation, because it's going to be that, but it can still be civil, it can still be productive, and we need to create ways in which Talbot County can move forward.
Totally agree. I know that there is a group that has come together called Move the Monument Coalition.
Yes.
And their subtitle is Stand for Justice and Equality in Talbot County. Just to share from my notes, their mission statement says, "We are a nonpartisan coalition of citizens dedicated to moving the Confederate Soldiers Monument, reflective of a divisive and racist past, off the lawn of the Talbot County Courthouse. our county should not be represented by the prominent Confederate monument. And so on. Talbot County is better than this. Action should be taken now to move the monument. Um, this is an interesting. I find it not only interesting but a definitional conflict here. I think about speaking to what our values are and who we are and what we are. I mean, um, again, not to try to erase history, but just the question of how do we deal with the difficult points of our history.
Sure. And I've heard it's about trying to erase history. It's not about erasing history.
Not at all.
We have instituted, buildings that tell a great prolific history of our country as the United States of America. And that monument definitely belongs in that particular museum or space. I would venture to say that the courthouse lawn, and especially the circuit courthouse lawn, where individuals that look like me, that may not look like me, are going to that particular courthouse to seek a fair and just trial. How is it that individuals can get that fair and just trial that our constitutional rights have indicated to us when we have a Confederate monument on that courthouse lawn?
Right. As I've said before, monuments, statues, they communicate. They communicate silently, but they communicate nevertheless.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the questions that the community needs to deal with is how are we addressing and dealing with the message being sent? Again, I don't think the monument should be destroyed at all or anything negative to it. It's part of who we are and what we are. It's our past. It's not our present, nor is it our future.
Correct.
I
would agree wholeheartedly. It is not the NAACP's position to destroy the monument.
Right. Yeah.
Our position has always been that we need to relocate that monument to somewhere that's more appropriate. And the council needs to commission a group of bipartisan citizens who can reasonably come together to discuss the creation of a new monument that tells the accurate story of the Civil War.
Absolutely.
In Talbot County.
Oh, I fully agree. That's honest. I mean, that's what we should be doing as an open and receptive community and an open and receptive society.
Absolutely.
So, what are the next steps? Where are we in all of this?
So, where we are is we're still meeting individually with the county council. I know there's been many members who have met with certain council members individually. I know that there's council members who stated they're working with individuals or groups of people, and we're continuing to ask who those individuals are and when are you going to bring forth a report or at least an update of what it is that you're working with these individuals on. So we're still pressing for that accountability measure based upon what the council states. And we're going to comply with what the council wants right now, and that's to meet individually with individuals. But I'm hoping that through these individual meetings that we collectively come together to have the conversation openly in public so that all citizens of Talbot County can see and participate in this dialogue.
I think that's so important. I mean, and everybody obviously is entitled to their own opinion.
Absolutely.
The dialogue, as you said earlier, the dialogue is really what is key here, I think.
It is.
I hope that we can move forward in a positive way, building what I think is a pretty good community to begin with, and not just pretty good. People on the show have heard me say we live in a dynamic and very cool community, and I want to maintain it and strengthen it.
Absolutely. And we have an awesome community, but when an awesome community is met with such divisive topics and of this status, what makes us even, what gives us the strength is how we deal with it as an awesome community. And we have to address the issue. We have to be willing to, allow our vulnerabilities to be exposed a little bit and heal from that and reconcile and heal together and move forward together. That's what makes us a united community. That's what keeps us linked together as a community. And that's what will keep us pushing and moving forward in the future.
Absolutely. That's a powerful message. And by the way, if you want to preach on Friday night, I can get you a job.
I don't.
No, but seriously, I don't want to I don't want to obfuscate the power of your words. You're exactly correct. That's what we have to do in a civil, respectful way, and let people express their feelings. As you know, I wasn't born here, although I love it here. I all the time say this is the most wonderful place I've ever lived. I want to maintain that and highlight that and add to the strength of our community this way.
Absolutely. I'm going to be honest. We are fortunate to have you in our community.
Oh,
I enjoy you being a part of our community.
Well, you're very kind. I'll give you the B list. Anyway, Richie, thank you for being on. And we will touch base periodically. I want you to come back and give us updates.
Absolutely.
I do think it's important and necessary and really transformational for us. So,
absolutely. And we will get through this. We will get through this as one community, standing together and united together. We will get through this.
I totally agree. And again, to the Move the Monument Coalition, I appreciate their efforts and
absolutely
thank them for what they've done. And I appreciate you taking the time from your busy schedule to join us. We have been talking to the president of the Talbot NAACP, Richard Potter, no stranger to the Rabbis Roundtable. Richie, thanks, and have a very Merry Christmas and a happy, healthy New Year.
You do the same and stay safe.
I will, thanks. And we will
you.
be back, Easton, in one moment with our second guest.
Did you know? MCTV programming is available online. Find our shows like Rabbi's Roundtable, Carlisle's Chesapeake, The Shameless Picture Show, Conversations with Sherry, and the AVALON Theater Presents at youtube.com/Midshore Community Television.
And we are back. And welcome again, Easton, to the Rabbis Roundtable. I'm Rabbi Peter Hyman, Rabbi at Temple B'nai Israel. And our second guest, I am really delighted to have. This is his first time on the Rabbis Roundtable, but I hope it will not be your last. Jeff Langford. Jeff is the Downtown Development Director for the Easton Economic Development Corporation, which goes by EEDC. It's one of the coolest groups, the most insightful, visionary groups that I think we have in our community, doing amazing work. And one of the reasons that I wanted Jeff to be on is to talk about some of that work. So Jeff, welcome to the Rabbis Roundtable, and thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit. First, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, how you get to where you are, and that sort of thing.
So, Easton resident, born and raised. I've been here almost in my entire life. I joke and say that I moved to Y Mills for 5 years. So they almost yanked my Easton card away from me when I did that. But very happy to be here in the community. For 10 years, I was in Queenstown, actually working for the Aspen Institute as their food and beverage director, and had a wonderful opportunities out there, meeting some fantastic people and really just doing some great work. But it was, cow pastures and not really a big community out there. So it was really nice to be back in town and working for the businesses. I came over from the Easton Business Alliance, and it's only been a month, but we've already launched a ton of programs, and we're really excited about the work that we have coming forward this coming year as well.
Well, that's what I want to talk about. That's very exciting. You weren't at the Y Mills when the president and Begin and Sadat were there. No, you're too young for that.
Too young for that, but the pictures are all over the
I
place.
know, it's amazing. Every time I walk through there, I would go, whoa, look at that.
Yeah, but I was there when they did the NFL lockout discussion, so I feel very much responsible for having an NFL season that year. It's because of the food that we prepared for them,
Well,
I'm absolutely sure.
I can totally understand. Thank you very much. Anyway, back to from the sublime to the ridiculous, going back to what's reality. Let's talk a little bit about the Shop Sundays holiday raffle. Tell us about that, how it originated, what the deal is, and how we can inform the community of what's in front of us.
Sure. So, I think Easton has a reputation sometimes of being sleepy on Sundays. Shops not really open, or, maybe miscommunication there, because some of our shops are open, but especially during the holiday season, our shops in the downtown area do open up, and they actually extend their hours to provide more shopping opportunities. So we wanted to come together and promote that and inform people that there are more chances to come shopping, and also reward folks that do come out and support those merchants that are putting in the extra hours and opening their doors, and frankly, just creating a very safe environment to do that shopping. So we wanted to do something, and the idea came of the Shop Sundays holiday raffle, because who doesn't like to win prizes and be rewarded for their efforts?
Of course. A quick question. My background, aside from clergy, my parents had a jewelry store. And I remember in Connecticut, and I remember when the merchants in the town where my father's store was got together and said they wanted to open up on Sundays. And there was huge pushback. And I understood the pushback, and I understood both sides. Everybody's comfortable with opening on Sundays, correct?
Yes, for the most part, we have 27 different locations that are participating in this raffle. And yes, it's a little bit, it's questions, not so much pushback for any reason other than maybe just not knowing if they're going to have the turnout that they would require to even support the extra hours. And as we should note, putting in extra hours this year during the pandemic, it's no small task. They have to make sure that they're going to be able to sustain themselves.
Yeah, and that's a whole dimension that is just unimaginable prior to this moment. So give us a few more details about the raffle itself, how it works, and how much do you have to spend, and all that sort of thing.
So you have to come out on Sundays.
Yep.
And we say the prime time for shopping is between 11 and 3, but some retailers do a little bit earlier, some retailers do a bit later. So definitely check in with your favorite retailer. Every $10 you spend, you will earn a raffle ticket. So you can grab some lunch from one of our great downtown restaurants. You can go in and get some toys from Cracker Jacks, get some jewelry from Silver Linings. You can go get some clothes all around Easton and really complete your shopping list, especially as we're getting close. We're only about 10 days away, or less than 10 days away.
No kidding.
From the holiday shopping season winding down. So it's really, it's not much to ask. $10, it does go a long way, but it's not much to ask. But the more you spend, the more opportunities you have to win. And what we do is, after the Sunday shopping, we draw raffle tickets and announce winners online. So we've already given away 8 prizes, which are the Downtown Easton gift card, a new program that we just launched. The first 4 prizes were $25 gift cards. This next round was $50 gift cards, but we still have more. We actually have 4 $100 gift cards and 1 grand prize of a $300 gift card to raffle off in this last Sunday shopping spree.
That's terrific. And we've had a good response from the merchants downtown.
Absolutely. In fact, a little nerve-wracking at first, because some of the folks said, well, we're not sure about opening up on Sundays, but since we're doing the program, we'll go ahead and do it. And oh gosh, I hope this works out. There's some little bit of anxiety there, but the first weekend was good responses. The second weekend was fantastic responses. We had just perfect situation, wonderful weather. The word had spread. Folks were coming in looking for the raffle tickets, and we're also getting close to that timeline. The people's the internal clock starts going off. They know they need to get the shopping done. So it was really, really nice to hear that this has been working for many of them.
I'm really glad to hear that, and the merchants, that they're pleased, and the sense of commerce has been good, even in spite of all the other realities we're facing.
It's good. It could be better. I think that many of them, really what's troubling is trying to figure out the trends. you would typically think that Friday and Saturday would be a strong day for shopping, and then it turns into Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday might be the busiest day of the week for them. And so again, it's tough because if they have to commit themselves to all these hours, especially if they have staff coming in, with it being odd hours and odd trends like that, it can be tough sometimes to plan for their weeks. But for the most part, the feedback has been steady, and people are feeling okay about things. But certainly they will need our support past the holiday season, and they will need our support going into next year, because the news about vaccines and everything looks promising, but it's going to be at least till the spring or summer, from what we're reading, that we're going to start to see that shift happening.
Yeah, I've been told actually by folk on the inside who know more about this than I do, certainly, probably the summer.
Right.
If we get there at all. I mean, if we're lucky by the summer. So that's real cause for concern. And just in terms of 2021, next steps and that sort of thing for the city and what we're doing and how we're doing it. Any comments? Any thoughts?
Yeah, so in addition to the Shop Sunday Holiday Raffle, we've also launched our Downtown Easton card. And I think this is a great program that has launched during the holiday season, but it's also just a really fantastic program that's going to live on for years to come. And the way that works is that if you are looking for an easy gift idea and to keep the money local, you can go on to our online portal. It's downtowneastoncard.com. And you can purchase these cards online. Those cards are sent either via email or text message, and any value that you put on the card will be received by the recipient, and they have the power to choose where they want to spend the card. And what's really fantastic about this, we just rolled this out 2 weeks ago, and we already have 31 locations that are participating. We have about 15 more that are signing up and going through the activation process now. And I have more places to visit and sign them up. So we're going to have a lot of representation on this card, and it's going to be a lot of options for folks to be able to kind of come downtown, try something new, or maybe if you don't live in Easton but you want to gift somebody something, this card will give them the power to come and do what they'd like, and we know the money's going to stay in the community.
That's just. It's not only terrific, it's inspirational. And as I've always said, and the director of the EEDC, Tracy Ward, has heard me say this a lot, I think the Easton Economic Development Corporation is a remarkable group of people. I think they're visionary. You are visionary, insightful, have a real grasp of what not only is the reality of where we are, but how to move us forward. So for all this, thank you very much. This is very exciting. And you said there are how many merchants involved in this?
I believe 31 have gone through the activation process already. So if you buy a gift card right now, you can use it at 31 locations. But I know for sure we've got a dozen or so more that are going through the activation process. So we anticipate well over 40 locations online as participating merchants by the end of this year. And then certainly moving forward, we'll probably have more and more, and we're going to grow naturally. We're very focused downtown, but I can see us going even further than that because the response has been so well received.
Wow. And if I'm a customer walking through town, is there a way that I can know what merchants, what stores are involved in the program?
If you go to the Downtown Easton Card website, there's actually a nice map that's on there that lists all the locations where you can use the card. And we are also going to have window clings, very similar to what you would see for Visa cards, MasterCards, that sort of thing, that will be in the store windows that'll show this is a location that you can use this card at. And it's really great for this time of, with dealing with pandemic and social distancing. This is a digital card. It can be printed, but there's less back and forth between transactions.
Oh, that's good.
And also, we just see it as a great way of, a lot of places maybe they're not able to gather with big holiday parties, or they're not able to give the gifts that they would normally give in person. Well, this is something that they could actually order in bulk, and they could give it to clients. They could give it to their employees as a thank you throughout the year. And it's really, again, we can't reiterate this enough, the money will absolutely go back into the local economy because it has to be spent with our local businesses.
Oh, that's terrific. I think that's brilliant. So thank you for this. I appreciate your time. you too will come back as well. Your director Tracy Ward from time to time and bring us updates. It's very exciting. It's very insightful and visionary. And thank you for what you're doing. It really makes a difference in our community, I think. So
Yeah, I appreciate the time. And yes, we have a lot more projects that we're working on. We have so much more that we anticipate for 2021. And we're going to be asking for community support as well. So anything
well,
that folks that they hear about and they're excited about, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We love your support and your volunteers as well to help with the revitalization, rejuvenation, and really just the polishing of downtown presentations.
yeah, I'm delighted. You seriously, you will come back to give us reports, periodically. I think it's important, and I think it's also important for the population of our community to see the visionary, insightful realities that the leaders of our community are dealing with. And I know the mayor is a part of the EEDC board, and I know he brings that perspective as well. And thank you for what you're doing. It's really, really very inspirational. So thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you will be back. And like, to you and yours, a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
You as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Easton, we will be back momentarily.
The Avalon Foundation and MCTV programming is proudly supported by Chesapeake College. Chesapeake College, your time, your place.
We are MCTV, Midshore Community Television. We want your help in making our station more robust so that we can better serve the residents of Talbot County. So, how can you help? If you are already making video content, submit that content for broadcast to the station. It's free! Are you involved in events, shows, or lectures that would be of interest to the community? We can work with you to figure out the best way to capture those events for airing on MCTV, be it training, equipment rental, or hiring our production staff to film at a reasonable rate. Do you want to produce your own show? Let us help you get started. Come be a part of this valuable community resource. Email the station at nick@avalonfoundation.org or visit us in the basement of the historic Avalon Theater at 40 East Dover Street in downtown Easton.
And we are back. And welcome again, Easton, to the Rabbi's Roundtable. I'm Rabbi Peter Hyman, and my third guest, definitely not a stranger to the Rabbi's Roundtable, my friend, my colleague, the Bishop, the Right Reverend Bishop Joel Johnson. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Just double checking. How are you, Joel? Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good to see you, Rabbi Peter, my colleague, my friend, my brother.
Thank you.
Happy Hanukkah to you. You've made it through 5 nights, and the oil is still burning.
Well, yes. I know. I should have put a Hanukkah menorah on the. It's all right. Yes, the oil is still burning. What a miracle!
Truly.
Tonight is tonight's the 6th or 7th night. I don't remember.
The 6th night, I believe.
Well, yes, maybe.
So who's your rabbi?
Yeah, thank you. I know. I mean, I can know these things, but I don't. All I know is that I've sent my children and my granddaughter presents, and my mother and my sister and my niece and my nephew. So everybody's taken care of. The joy of the holidays. Never mind. But on a serious note, I thought you and I would just talk about what we are observing and what we are seeing throughout the community in response to this really strange reality we now find ourselves living in, and perhaps as we approach, we're moving through Hanukkah, but as we approach Christmas and the New Year, maybe a word of inspiration and a word of uplift for those who listen to this. So, any thoughts first about what we're experiencing?
Oh, I thought about it a lot. You know, I'm older than dirt, as you may know, and all of my life I've been used to the midnight mass on Christmas Eve, and all of its joy, walking through a foot of snow a mile to get to Gethsemane Cathedral in Fargo, That's in North Dakota where I was raised, and in Winnipeg. The winters were just absolutely brutal, and so it was just a joy getting into that warmish kind of cathedral setting. Uh, and of course, that's what I've been used to through the years in Chicago, in Columbus, and of course here in Delmarva land. And now, of course, it's all gone. It's all different. The ethos of Christmas has absolutely changed in the religious sense. What we still have is Christmas in the family sense, and I think that for people who are devout, it's an opportunity to be able to tell the Christmas story to our children, to our grandchildren, to be able to relive it ourselves, even just in the personal memories that we share with them of days past, with our own parents, with our own grandparents.
Mhm.
I think that, well, of course, we all know the old expression that if you are able to keep memories alive and share them with the next generations, then the people who lived before you really haven't died. They're still very much alive, both
Absolutely.
in the imagination and in the art of telling the story.
Absolutely. And as you were talking, I was thinking the both the image, the dominant image of Hanukkah and Christmas is the concept of light.
Yes.
The menorah, and of course, uh, Jesus is referred to as the light of the world. And boy, I can't remember a holiday season where the darkness is more not only external but internal as well. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the power of the holidays maybe this year is more important than in any other year.
Oh, I think you're so right. Yeah, yeah. Retired as I am, I still receive calls from people who are struggling during this time, not just in the sense of health, but in the sense of lost income, lost jobs,
Oh,
and the darkness is just incredible. You're so right about the light, and of course it's up to people like you and me, and to other people of faith, and even people of no faith to be shedding this light, carrying this light to other people. It, Failing that, what are we here for?
well, exactly. And this is such a I walk around saying to people, I can't believe in the 21st century we have been, especially in the United States of America, we have
Yeah,
been stopped by a virus,
imagine, yeah.
And the other thing I say is what it shows us is that we're not the big kids in the sandbox that we think we are necessarily.
No, we are not. And in today's Washington Post, there is a guest editorial by the pastor of Metropolitan African Methodist Episcopal Church in Washington D.C., whose church had some destruction of property done by the poor boys. And
Yep.
he even poses the question. He begins his editorial by asking, "Do you hear what I hear?" And of course, that's the beginning of a pop Christmas carol. Do you hear what I hear? And what he's referring to is the death rattle of American grandeur, that white imperialism, that all of the trimmings of imperium, which we have held so closely for all these many years, maybe finally breaking apart so that we can become a nation which is really truly loving and comprehensive of all people. It's a very powerful editorial. Read it if you have a chance.
I will read it. I haven't seen it yet, but I will look at it this afternoon. No, these are things that we as a community, and certainly you and I as leaders in the religious community, we need to address and to address strongly and directly, because it's frightening,
Yes,
frightening.
so true. Yeah. And we need to pass it along to our other clergy as well, because I think that clergy are also feeling the darkness of this
Oh,
period.
no question.
All of our clergy are getting calls every day, all through Delmarva. I'm not referring only to Anglican or Episcopalian clergy,
Right. Oh, sure.
but yeah, but everybody's getting these calls, and it's difficult absorbing, having to be the sponge that carries in all of these tears. We need to help our own colleagues in wringing out those sponges and feeling the spirit to be able to pass that spirit on.
Yeah, oh, no, you're absolutely correct. It's important. It's important for our community well-being and for our own mental health.
Yes,
So,
it certainly is. Yeah, yeah.
um, and so often we are really among the first people to get these kinds of calls. And I like you, I've received many from folk who are, and not just members of the congregation or in the Jewish community, but the general community, saying, "What's going on? Can you help me?" And emotionally, spiritually, psychologically.
Yeah, you're so right. And I'm recalling, I think it was you who said it years ago in a wonderful sermon that we, the clergy, we're among the first responder community. We're the ones who are getting the calls first, and it's our job. It's what we signed on for.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
And so, the other reality is that we've never seen anything like this. This is really an anomaly. So,
It truly is. It truly is. My wife and I were thinking of this over dinner last night, of all the things that we've seen within our own lifetimes. Men walking on the moon.
mhm.
The Great Recession, 9/11, and now this. It's absolutely amazing. All of these things happening within our own brief lifetime.
Yeah.
And of course, we know that within the long geo-history of this world, 10 billion years, we understand our lives are just a speck.
Yeah, a small speck, as a matter of fact, a tiny speck. And any words of inspiration, any words of uplift that you want to conclude with as we bring this session of the Rabbi's Roundtable to a conclusion?
Yes. First, hug everybody you know. Kiss your wife, your spouse, your lover every day. Tell him or her you love her. Hug and kiss your children. Embrace everybody you know. And listen, as you know, my habit, whenever I conclude meeting with anyone, I always say to them, in the words of Jesus, as he instructed us, to say, "Peace be with you."
Yep.
I think that's one of the greatest things that we can possibly do. Give the gift of peace to those we love, even especially to the ones who we don't love, because that's the way that we have cooperation. That's the way that we really make progress in this world. I was so inspired hearing our friend Richie earlier on in this program talking about being positive in the way that things are presented to the county council, because the county council, let's face it, they're afraid. Those good people are intimidated. They're afraid of the threats that are going to be made against them. You and I are veterans of this fight to remove that horrific statue from the courthouse green. You and I remember how you and I were intimidated. We were by very evil people 5 years ago when this topic was before the county council. So, but I digress. Again, the thing to give to people for the holiday is peace.
Yes. Amen. Amen. And Joel, I wish you and Susie and the family a very Merry Christmas, a happy, healthy, good New Year. Keep doing what you're doing and being a leader in our community. We are grateful for your presence.
And the same to you, my brother, my teaching partner, my buddy, bosom friend.
Yep.
I love you so much. My love to you and your family as well.
Thank you. Thank you. And EASTON, you have been seated at the Rabbi's Roundtable with 3 very interesting and insightful friends and guests. And we look forward to seeing you in 2021. I hope everybody has a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, a good Kwanzaa, and that the new year brings us joy, health, and peace. Amen is right, and we'll see you next time on the Rabbi's Roundtable. Be well.